Welcome to the Generation Why Not podcast with Ruth Klein, a 6-time best-selling author, creative brand strategist, and book coach for small businesses, entrepreneurs, authors, mompreneurs, and professionals today. She is the president of the award-winning firm Expert Celebrity Branding, and the Wall Street Journal calls her the marketing maven. This podcast will be interviewing this generation, those who are doing things differently because of their perceptual shift of what success looks like, and who are driven by attitude, not age. They know anything is possible, and you'll hear how this generation feels the fear and keeps going anyway to achieve their goals and dreams, whether they be in business, sports, the arts, or lifestyle.
Welcome to Generation Why Not. I'm your host, Ruth Klein. This generation, what I call Generation Why Notters, they tend to embrace and engage with leaders and high performers by looking how each older demographic model shares similarities. And the old idea of demographics, where we have seniors and baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Generation Z, this generation doesn't really look at it in terms of age. Why? Because they are driven by attitude, not age. And I love that Generation Why Not. This generation tends to always look for possibilities. They love the curiosity of problem solving. It's very rare that you'll hear a Generation Why Notter give up. They always seem to find another way. And this is exactly who we are going to be interviewing and getting to know today. Her name is Karmen Reed. And what I love about Karmen, besides being a dear friend and colleague, she originally comes from Croatia. And it's a very small country in the European Mediterranean. And I love what she says, where family is king, life joy is a queen, and everything that happens in between is just a series of happy accidents. I love that. And Karmen is definitely a Generation Why Notter. She is always open to possibilities. She is curious about everything, which I so love. And she is a student of everything, just so inquisitive, so bright, and is always asking the right questions, certainly of me, and I know of her clients. And Karmen helps entrepreneurial women reinvent themselves as leaders and influencers. She basically changes the way women relate to money and to their inner powers so that their most important initiative can be reached. Please help me welcome Karmen Reed. Hi, Karmen.
Hi, Ruthie. Thank you for such a warm welcome. That great, fun introduction.
Well,
it's always fun to come and.
I just think the world of you. And we were together most recently at a little getaway, even though we were keeping our social distancing. And it was just so fantastic. And once again, you always ask the right questions, and I don't see them coming. I mean, I just don't see it coming. And it's exactly what I needed to hear. And you make me think. So tell us, how did you get that intuitive? How do you know the questions to ask? Where did that come from? Because
boy.
Certainly as a coach, that comes in handy today.
Well, yeah. You know what? I really, truly believe that this comes from my childhood. I was a very curious, inquisitive child. I wanted to learn about everything. Math, art, biology, everything. I was just insatiably curious and wanted to learn about everything. I've learned later on, especially when I decided to become a coach, that the masterful coach really asks the right questions.
Yeah.
So I started asking myself certain questions when I was journaling, when I was coming up with some kind of an idea or, had to work out my idea, as well as when, we're faced with decisions, any kind of decisions, whether that's in your personal life, professional life. I always think information is power. And how do you get to information? You ask questions.
That's right. That's exactly right. Did anyone ever tell you you ask too many questions, or just do as people ask? I mean, that's kind of a running response that Generation Y daughters received at a very early age. Did you get that too?
Oh, yeah. Why'd you ask so many questions? I think it's kind of a normal, it's sadly to say, normal reaction when you start asking questions. People roll their eyes out. I don't think it's really looked at in a negative way. I just think that a lot of people are not being asked the questions that we as coaches ask, the questions that will actually pause them in a moment and connect with the question and think about it. I think that generally, people are lazy thinkers, and I am trying to ignite the thinking piece in them, because I do believe we can all solve our own problems. We can overcome our challenges if we have enough information. And in order to have enough information, we have to ask questions.
I love that. Tell us, being a money coach, how did you come about being a money coach, and why a money coach?
So I don't consider myself a money coach, but I more consider myself a money mindset coach. I don't tell people what to do with their money and, how to invest and stuff. I definitely consult them in a way to create their really good money or financial team, to have a good financial advisor, to have a good accountant, to have a good tax person, to bookkeeper, and I definitely do insist in some good habits when it comes to taking action. But what really got me to start coaching people on money mindset was I used to be a marketing person. I was a marketing consultant. I noticed that a lot of women are very shy when it comes to making decisions around money. They delay the decisions. They did not want to talk about money. Then I started kind of like noticing similar things happening for me. I found me a great, wonderful coach. And you're probably familiar with her because that's how we met.
Yes.
The wonderful Kendall Summerhawk. And I learned so many things about how to think differently around money. And I realized what an important mindset that is. Because if we don't have a good relationship with money, it is really hard to create success in your business. It's hard to have a really great relationship with your spouse or partner. It is much harder to think of, being healthy and making healthy choices. There's so many different correlations with our money mindset. And I was determined to bring this new way of thinking around money, new way to relate to money to as many women as possible. I think it's so incredibly important. That's why.
Let me ask you, Karmen, what do you feel are the top 3 fears women have around money that really prevents them from moving forward in reaching their goals? Because money shows up everywhere, right?
Right. I know this. It's not like what I'm thinking. I know this because I did the research. I surveyed about 200 women, and about 75% of them, and this was January, February, beginning of March, right before this quarantine started. And about 75% of women, they said they're afraid of not having enough money and not making enough, not having enough. So scarcity, number one, 75%. I was just blown away when I was looking at that. I'm telling you, this was before the quarantine started, the official quarantine, because after that started, it was almost like, oh my gosh, there's a proof right there for them to be scared of it because that's what media and that's like, it's almost like this generic mindset around money took over. So scarcity is number one. Number two is definitely the money story that we are just running with, not realizing what it comes from and not realizing we can change it at any time. Yeah. And then the third one, I think, is boundaries. Where as women are so focused on satisfying the world around us, to service, to taking care of things and people. And we put ourselves in the very last spot of that. And to me, when I look at that, it's kind of like, not paying yourself first.
Yeah.
Not taking care of your own health and your own needs. Not learning what is the most important thing that you need to learn when it comes to money, because you need to know and you need to make money decisions. You need to have money conversations. It's always still focused on other people that we forget that we are the number one ingredient in this relationship with money. And I think that establishing much different, much better, stronger boundaries will actually show us that I say, creating boundaries is really honoring your core values.
What's a money boundary, number one? And number two, a lot of times people will say, well, how can I pay myself? I'm hardly making any money to pay my bills. So what's a money boundary that you find seems to get squashed? And what would you tell someone that says, hey, Karmen, you want me to pay myself first? How am I supposed to do that if I have so many bills and I can barely pay those?
Well, first, if I were to tell you, hey, you got to pay yourself first, is thinking of yourself as an important piece in your money story. Why are you making money? In order to honor our time that we spend on our business, in our career, you have to make sure that you establish certain habits that are actually going to create abundance and abundance thinking. Because when we think that we're the last people that deserve the money that we put so much time and effort into making, then everything is kind of skewed. You don't see yourself as worthy of that money that you make. I tell people one of the most important things to learn when it comes to money, I think, is saving and investing. I forgot who said it. I'm drawing a blank, but they said the people with the rich mindset and the wealthy people pay themselves first and then spend the rest, to where poor mindset people spend first and then pay themselves or invest or save. So I'm talking about, paying yourself first, meaning in my mind could be, investing in your future, saving money on a regular basis, even if it's $1 a day or $1 a week. The amount doesn't really matter. What matters is the habit. Because once you start making more money and you're able to put more money away, that number, it's easy to increase that number. What's hard is to establish the habit.
I love that. And so how do people go about establishing the habit, healthy habits around money? What would you suggest? What are some things you share with your clients?
Start with really making some decisions. Even if we're saying, okay, what is my money goal? Does that mean that my money goal needs to be, how much money I make? It doesn't have to be that. It can be money that I save. And it could be money that I invest. So having money goals, I think, is the number one thing to decide on. And then I think it's just kind of like any new habit that you would start doing in order to establish and for that habit to become your second nature. You either calendar it or, have a coach remind you of it or, create a certain ritual that will establish this habit, and it's going to make you feel good that you're doing it. So even if you put a $10 away every week at the end of the week. Every Friday, $10 goes into your jar or savings account or whatever. I'm talking minimal stuff, right? On the first of the month, can you look back and see how much money you saved? Would that put a smile on your face and get you to maybe next week save $12 or $20? I think first of all, it's more about the awareness of what you want and then making a decision to actually be consistent in something because you know that is the right thing to do because that's going to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Create a better future.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting. I like the fact that you're breaking it down into very, very small bits, $1 a week, $1 a day. It's not, as you mentioned, it's not the amount what you're trying to do here. It sounds like you're trying to help them establish consistency, and that consistency will create habit, and that habit will start to become automatic, and then that $1 a day becomes $5 a day, $10 a day. There's a certain amount of confidence, right, that we get when we have established a habit that puts a smile on our face, that gets us closer to our goals.
Can I give you an example of what we're doing in one of my groups? What we're doing is in January we started, and it was, I call it a $5 challenge. So the challenge goes for a whole year. It's a little bit harder now that we're not outside and spending money, going to shopping and to restaurants and Starbucks and, all the other routine spending habits are changing right now, right? But before, when we started, and I think we're still going, like I'm still honoring the challenge myself because I'm going through it with my group. So what we're doing is every single $5 bill that you encounter, you decide not to spend it, but put it away. And there is a really interesting thing that started happening in the community. I said, share it with your clients, share it with your friends, with your moms, with your sisters, with your brothers, just share it and see what happens. Well, one of my clients, she came and she goes, Karmen, I don't know what to do with this. She is a fitness coach and she receives money, from her clients, I think monthly. It's like $365 this woman paid her in $5 bills.
Oh, wow.
Because she thought it would be a really great way to support her. So I go, Jenny, what'd you do with it? She goes, you know what? I put it away. It wouldn't all fit in my jar, but I put it away in a box. And I told myself, if I cannot pay the bills this month, it will be okay to go there. But I first put it away. And I think what a great way to actually start changing the routine of thinking about how you spend money now.
I love that. Let me ask you, I rarely have cash. Rarely. When I do remember to put cash in my purse, it goes quickly. And so I'm more of a credit card type of gal. So what would you tell me? Because I don't break $5 bills.
I would challenge you to start using some cash on a regular basis.
Okay.
See what happened. A couple of years ago, I got invited to this retreat as a guest speaker and to talk to this group, very small group of women. It was very intimate kind of a setting to talk about money mindset and the relationship with money. I brought a wad of cash, just kind of like a stack of cash, all kinds of different values, dollar bills, $5 bills, 10s, 20s. It was a stack, and I pulled it out and I asked, when I pull this out, tell me, when you look at this, what do you feel? And there was the one woman that started crying. And I was just blown away. I've never expected it, really. It was a very small group. It was probably like 12 women in there. She started sobbing, and she realized that she had no idea how heavy her relationship with money is. So seeing cash and parting with cash, it's totally different experience, emotional experience than, doing credit card things.
Oh, completely. Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yes.
I would challenge you to take, every week $20 out and see what happens. And if you don't spend it, you save it. If you spend it, watch for all your fives. If you ever get it back, put your fives away.
Yeah,
I
love that. I love that. You know what I do? Every year, starting around October, I choose this arbitrary number, $10,000. And I go back and I think of all the automatic payments and all the subscriptions that I have. I even look at how much I've been spending on entertainment, eating out, and I try and find $10,000 that I can save for next year. That I can easily save because I know that 10,000 will be used for other things, whether it's a program or a retreat that I want to do or something like that. So it's a game I play every year. And I have to tell you, when you look for it, you can find it. It's incredible because I think $10,000, that's a lot of money. That's
Yeah.
down, that's $850 or so a month. That's a lot of money. How am I going to save that? But I'll tell you, I ended up changing telephone carriers. I saved $100 a month. I really check to see we sign up for this and I sign up for that and $15, and you don't notice it every month, or $7 every month, but it keeps on going. And I forget that I have it because I may not need that platform anymore. I may not need that anymore. And it adds up. So I stop that. It's incredible when you look for it. And that's what I'm getting from you is you've got to look for it. You've got to look for the $5 bills. You've got to look for the goals. You've got to create that habit and become aware of it and follow up with it.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to congratulate you on that ritual that you have every October, because if we don't set time to really connect with the money in a way that we're doing money, oh my gosh, there's actual danger in there.
Yes. Oh, completely.
Seriously.
Absolutely, Karmen. And as you're speaking, I'm thinking, here's where I'm spending over $300 a month on storage of furniture that I haven't seen in years. And that's $300. Actually, it could be closer to $400 a month, quite honestly. And I've been doing that now for a couple of years. And this is the year that I'm going to be going to both storage units. And I'm either going to be selling stuff, giving it away, but I want to be able to eliminate that. And, you talk about $10,000. And if, in fact, that's $400, I think it's $400 a month, that's basically $5,000 right there.
Yep.
That's
and half of your savings.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what is one piece of wisdom that you really want our listeners to remember that you can share with us?
Do not be afraid to look at the truth in the face and claim your responsibility and look for the opportunity in that responsibility to create your next step, whatever it is. I worked with so many women that are so afraid to actually see the truth because it hurts them to the core. And once you see it, you feel empowered to make the change. The other part of it, if you don't do it, then you're living with blinders on.
Yeah.
It's a make-up world. It's not real.
And are you referring to don't be afraid to look at your money, your relationship to money?
Yes, to your relationship with money, and see how that relationship with the money in particular affects the rest of your life, your relationships, your health, the way that you show up in your business, and see if there is one thing that you can change about your relationship with money that would move the needle for all of the other relationships that you have. Like I said, it's with your health, with yourself, with your business, with your partner. What would that be? Because there is so much richness in our relationship with money if we want to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Become aware. Don't sleepwalk through life with it. I love that. So how can people get a hold of you? What is the best way people can get a hold of you, Karmen?
Well, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn. My name is spelled with a K, Karmen Reed, Reed. That's my website. I also have a Good Vibes show almost every Wednesday. And that is a free call, bringing some good vibes to those who want have some. Goodvibesoncall.com.
Love it. I love it. And I'm going to be on Good Vibes this week. So I'm looking forward to talking about Generation Why Not, because that brings you good vibes.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you talking to particular subjects, because I'm just so amazed with your whole concept about Generation Why Not, and about the whole idea of being purposeful in everything that we do and how we live. Love it. So I can't wait.
Yeah, thank you. And that's really what you're all about also. It's about, from what I'm getting from you, it's about being purposeful about your money.
Yeah. If you're not purposeful, why even do it? Why waste energy and time?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Exactly. Karmen, thank you so much. So much. You've been a gem of great insights into our relationship, into money. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Ruth.
Certainly. I want to share a couple of highlights that Karmen shared. There were so many, but I'm going to try and hit on a few. I love it when Karmen said she insists on good habits. I love that, because that's a master coach. When they're not wishy-washy, I insist that you develop some good habits, and I'm here to help you do it. That's what a mindset coach does, and specifically a money mindset coach, as Karmen is. And something that she had mentioned about money, one of the fears or one of the things that stops us is, it sounds like what I heard, women have a little bit of wishy-washy boundaries when it comes to money. And one such wishy-washy boundary might be, are you paying yourself first? And it's not so much about how much you're paying yourself, but are you establishing, and have you established the habit of paying yourself? And I love what she said about, what are your money goals? And this really hit in terms of what I think of goals. It's basically the money goal. Could it be the income that you want? That's usually what we think of. But maybe that money goal is how much you're going to save. Or maybe that money goal is how much you're going to invest. I love how Karmen broke those down into 3 elements. And I would, being a Generation Why Notter, and I would want to set a goal, and I am going to set a goal actually to do, well, I always do with the earnings, and I do with the savings, as I mentioned, but I don't really pay attention so much to the investment part of it. I already have investments, but it's interesting. I think one of the best investments we can do is to invest in ourselves, in educating and learning more, and getting the accountability, getting a money coach, getting a coach that's going to find you accountable. So I'm going to focus on that goal of investment. I love that. It used to be big on my goals, my money goals. Recently, it hasn't been. So I want to look at that. I think that's wonderful. I love that Karmen's piece of parting wisdom is not to be afraid to look at your relationship with money, because when you can do that, and when you can find space where there are opportunities, because there's always opportunities, right? There are always opportunities, especially in areas that are limiting us. That's what's so beautiful about learning and finding out from someone like Karmen, or some another coach that you may have to help you see the limiting belief, the limiting boundaries, because in that limitation lives a lot of opportunity. And when you can start to see the opportunity, that's when we start to feel empowered, because we can start to make changes. We don't feel like we're in a prison that we can't make changes. It's not something that happens to us. We get the opportunity to make that change. Thank you for joining me and Karmen and the rest of all of us on the Generation Why Not podcast. Until next time, focus on creating healthy money habits.
Thank you for joining Generation Why Not. We look forward to receiving any questions you may have, as Ruth will be answering them on this podcast. Follow Ruth.Klein on Instagram or email rklein@ruthklein.com. Until next time, a short reminder that success is driven by attitude, not age.